Your endocrinologist never told you about this kitchen spice, those blood sugar spikes. They never checked if you're using the right type. One specific spice, the correct variety, stops post-meal spikes in 1 week. They push $300 medications with terrible diarrhea when this spice costs pennies and works better. Clinical study proved it reduces spikes 29%. I'm Dr. James. Give me a few minutes and you might completely rethink something sitting in your kitchen right now. A spice you've probably used for years without a second thought. You believed it was healthy, natural, and safe. But the truth is, most people are using the wrong type without even realizing it. And instead of helping their body, they may be slowly creating stress inside it. This spice is cinnamon, but here's the part nobody explains clearly. Not all cinnamon is the same, even though the label makes it look identical. In fact, there are two completely different types, and one of them is far more common in stores. The cheaper version dominates the market, which is why most people end up using it unknowingly. Now think about this for a moment. Many people use cinnamon daily to support blood sugar, digestion, or overall health. They add it to tea, oatmeal, or smoothies, believing they are doing something beneficial. But if the type is incorrect, regular use can expose the body to compounds that your system has to constantly process and manage. At the same time, when the correct type is used properly, the story changes completely. It can support how your body handles sugar, reduce sudden spikes, and improve energy stability. The difference is not in the spice itself, it's in how and what you use. That's where most people go wrong. This is why some people say natural remedies don't work. They try something once, see no results, and give up. But in reality, they were using the wrong version or the wrong method. The idea wasn't flawed, the execution was. Today, you'll understand the difference clearly, not just what works, but how to use it correctly so your body actually benefits. And once you see this, you'll never look at your spice cabinet the same way again. Let's talk about something that affects millions of people quietly every day, a blood sugar roller coaster. It doesn't always show up as a disease in the beginning. Instead, it appears in subtle ways like fatigue after meals, sudden hunger, brain fog, or mood swings. These are early signals your body is struggling to maintain balance. After you eat, especially foods rich in carbohydrates, your blood sugar naturally rises. This is a normal biological process, but when that rises too fast and too high, your body reacts strongly. The pancreas releases a large amount of insulin to bring that sugar level down quickly. At first, this seems like the system is working perfectly. But here's the hidden issue. Sometimes the response is too strong. Instead of returning to a stable level, blood sugar drops to low. This creates a crash, leaving you feeling shaky, weak, and mentally drained. This is where the cycle becomes exhausting. You eat again to feel better, your blood sugar spikes again, and then another crash follows. Over time, this repeated pattern puts stress on your entire system. Your energy becomes unstable, your focus drops, and your body remains in constant adjustment mode. Many people don't realize they are stuck in this cycle. They assume they are just tired or aging, but in reality, their body is struggling to regulate glucose properly. This imbalance affects not just energy, but long-term health as well. The real solution is not just lowering sugar levels temporarily. It's creating stability so your body doesn't overreact, and that requires supporting how your system handles glucose from the inside. When people look for solutions, they often turn to methods that seem logical but don't fully solve the problem. Some approaches focus on slowing down how quickly carbohydrates are digested. This reduces how fast sugar enters the bloodstream after a meal. While this may sound effective, it creates another issue. Food that isn't fully digested continues through the system and reaches the lower digestive tract. There, bacteria break it down, which can lead to discomfort like gas, bloating, and irregular digestion. For some people, this discomfort is mild, but for others, it becomes a daily problem that affects quality of life. That's why many individuals start a solution but stop using it after a short time. It may help slightly, but it doesn't feel sustainable. Another limitation is that these methods often address only one part of the process. They slow down sugar entry but don't improve how the body actually uses that sugar. The core issue, how cells respond to insulin, remains unchanged. This is why results can feel incomplete. Blood sugar may improve slightly, but energy still fluctuates. The underlying imbalance continues to exist, just in a slightly modified form. A better approach focuses on improving the body's internal response. When cells respond properly to insulin, glucose is handled efficiently, and the entire system becomes more stable. Now let's look at how the correct type of cinnamon works differently. Instead of blocking digestion, it supports the body at a deeper level. It helps improve how your cells respond to insulin, which is the key to stable blood sugar. Certain natural compounds in true cinnamon interact with insulin receptors on your cells. These receptors act like gateways, allowing glucose to enter the cell and be used for energy. When they function better, your body requires less insulin to manage blood sugar. This creates a smoother and more balanced response after eating. Blood sugar rises gradually instead of spiking sharply. Then it returns to normal without dropping too low. This reduces both the peaks and the crashes that create instability. Another benefit is how it affects digestion. Cinnamon can slightly slow the rate at which food leaves the stomach. This means carbohydrates enter the bloodstream more gradually, giving your body more time to manage them efficiently. The result is not an instant dramatic change, but a steady improvement over time. With consistent use, many people notice better energy levels, fewer cravings, and a more stable daily rhythm. But remember, these benefits depend entirely on using the right type. Without that, the results may not appear, and the experience becomes inconsistent. Here is the most important detail that changes everything: the difference between cassia cinnamon and true cinnamon. Most products labeled simply as cinnamon in stores are actually cassia. It is widely available, cheaper, and has a stronger taste. The issue is not just the flavor, it's what's inside. Cassia contains higher levels of a compound that your body has to process carefully. When consumed occasionally, this may not matter. But when used daily in larger amounts, it can place extra load on your system. This becomes important for people trying to use cinnamon regularly. For health benefits, what seems like a simple habit can gradually build up over time. That's why understanding the type you are using is critical. True cinnamon, often called Ceylon cinnamon, is different. It contains only minimal amounts of that compound, making it more suitable for consistent use. Its flavor is milder, but its long-term safety is much better. Even visually, you can notice differences. True cinnamon tends to be lighter and more delicate, while cassia is darker and thicker. These small clues can help you identify what you're using at home. Once you understand this difference, the decision becomes simple. You don't have to avoid cinnamon, you just need to choose the right one and use it correctly for real benefits. Now let's talk about the part where most people fail even when they are using the right type of cinnamon, and that is dosage. Because using too little gives you no result, and using too much can create new problems. This is where precision matters more than intention. Many people sprinkle a tiny pinch and expect results, but the reality is your body needs a meaningful amount to create an effect. Cinnamon works through specific compounds, and those compounds must reach a certain level in your system to influence blood sugar response. At the same time, more is not always better. Taking excessive amounts can lead to your blood sugar dropping too low, especially if your body is already sensitive. This can leave you feeling weak, dizzy, and uncomfortable instead of balanced. The effective range that has shown results consistently is about 1 teaspoon with a meal. This amount is enough to support your system without overwhelming it. The key is consistency rather than increasing the dose randomly. Think of it as a steady signal to your body, not a shock. When you use the right amount regularly, your system begins to adjust and respond more efficiently over time. That's how real change happens. So the goal is simple: use the correct type in the correct amount and do it consistently. That combination is what creates results. Not guesswork. Now comes something even more important than dosage timing. Because cinnamon doesn't work the same way if you take it at random times during the day. It needs to be present in your system when your body is actually processing food. The most effective approach is to take it with your meals. This ensures that the active compounds are working exactly when carbohydrates are being broken down and absorbed. That's when your body needs support the most. If you take it too early, before eating, the effect may be reduced. If you take it too late, after digestion has already started, the impact is weaker. That's why the with meal timing is critical for best results. This creates what you can think of as a 1-hour window. During this time, your digestive system is actively handling glucose. Having cinnamon present during this phase helps smooth the entire process. When you follow this timing consistently, you begin to notice a difference. The spikes become smaller, the drops become less intense, and your energy feels more stable throughout the day. It's not about doing more, it's about doing it at the right moment, and timing is what turns a simple habit into an effective strategy. One of the most surprising things about this approach is how quickly your body can respond. Many people expect natural methods to take weeks or months before showing any effect, but in this case, changes can begin much sooner. Within the first few days, you may start noticing that your energy feels more stable, the sudden crashes after meals become less intense. You don't feel that urgent need to eat again immediately after a drop. By the end of the first week, the pattern often becomes clearer. Blood sugar fluctuations start to smooth out. Instead of extreme highs and lows, your body begins operating in a more controlled range. This doesn't mean everything becomes perfect overnight. Your body still needs time to adjust and rebuild its internal balance. But the direction of change becomes obvious early on. Consistency is what determines long-term success. When you maintain the routine daily, your system continues improving step by step. Small changes accumulate into noticeable results. The key is not to stop early. Many people quit just as their body is starting to adapt. Stay consistent and you allow the full effect to develop. Now let's simplify what's happening inside your body so you can truly understand why this works. Because when you understand the mechanism, you trust the process more. Cinnamon contains natural compounds that improve how your cells respond to insulin. This means glucose is absorbed more efficiently from your bloodstream. Your body doesn't need to release as much insulin to manage the same amount of sugar. At the same time, it slightly slows how quickly food leaves your stomach. This reduces the speed at which sugar enters your bloodstream. Instead of a sharp spike, you get a gradual rise that is easier to control. These two effects working together create balance. Less insulin needed, slower sugar release, and more stable energy levels. That's why you experience fewer crashes and more consistent performance. This approach doesn't block your system, it supports it. It works with your body's natural processes instead of forcing them in a different direction. That's why it feels smoother and more sustainable. When something supports your system instead of fighting it, the results tend to last longer, and that's exactly what makes this approach effective. Now let's bring everything together into a simple routine you can actually follow, because knowledge only matters if you apply it consistently in real life. Start by choosing the correct type of cinnamon. This is non-negotiable. Without the right type, the entire approach becomes less effective and potentially harmful over time. Make sure you know what you're using. Next, use 1 teaspoon with each main meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This ensures your body gets consistent support. Throughout the day when it needs it most, focus on timing. Always take it with your food, not randomly between meals. This aligns the effect with your digestion process and gives you the best results. Stay consistent for at least 1 to 2 weeks before judging results. Your body needs time to adjust and stabilize. Don't expect perfection overnight, but do look for gradual improvement. Finally, pay attention to how your body responds. If you feel more stable, more energized, and less reactive after meals, you're on the right track. That feedback is more important than anything else. This is not a complicated system. It's simple, consistent, and effective when done correctly. And sometimes the simplest changes create the biggest impact.